Hi, I'm Cindy Griffin with Homeopathy Center of Houston, one of 4 homeopaths, and we have all worked with autism since 2003. We have worked with children with pandas and autism, children with Lyme and autism, children with a myriad of problems very successfully, and we've had almost 200 kids fully recover. We've had literally hundreds, perhaps into the thousands more, who have had life-changing improvements through our method. And of course, one of the questions parents always ask is, what does it cost? But what they don't ask is, and ask themselves, is what is the cost of not treating my child's problems with autism? The bottom line is, if you don't treat your child with autism, first of all, there are safety concerns that must be considered. Children with autism are so fast to run out a door and run into traffic, or they run away and somebody doesn't notice until they've drowned in a neighbor's swimming pool or a nearby pond or river. There are just so many things that can happen from a safety aspect if you don't work with your child's autism physiologically, which will then help the behaviors. We know this for a fact from thousands of kids we've worked with. We know that we can help them. We know that every one of them can find improvements, and many of them, as I said, almost 200 of our kids have entirely lost their autism diagnosis and any vestiges. So there is hope. But if you don't do anything about your child's autism, you're facing between $2 and $9 million, depending, of course, on how long they live, how severe their problems are, and how much oversight they'll need, how long they can live at home, whether one or both parents are having to make job adjustments and career adjustments that may impact their income, as well as having to plan for the future for your child's care when you or your caregivers have passed away. So the costs are huge, $2 to $9 million for just basic care, putting a roof over the head of a child with autism throughout and into their adult years, throughout their lifetime, is what you're looking at. Our initials run about $1,000 to $1,200 for the very first time, but you get an hour and a half of our time for that money. And you get all the remedies that you need to get started, and some of them will last between a month and 2 months. Once you've finished with the initial, you're looking at about $500 to $800 a month, and it may take us a few months to start seeing some of the progress, but in virtually every child's case, within 6 months, we start seeing some improvements. Some are subtle, some can be dramatic as potty training, as dramatic as finding words to be able to express their needs. So the costs are really very minimal. And people say, but it's so expensive, I have to pay out of pocket. And we understand that. And that's why we have kept our the cost of our consults so low. And that way you can afford the remedies that your child needs. Because our advice without the remedies won't do your child any good, and the remedies without our advice aren't even available in most cases. So think about, what would it be worth to your family if your child could sleep through the night? What would it be worth to your family if your child were suddenly able to go from not speaking at all to even a few directly expressive words about their wants and their needs? How would it change your family's life if your child quit bolting out the door or quit running into traffic? It can be life-changing. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty here. What if your child could be potty trained? That alone is life-changing for families. If you have more peace, you have a little less of a worry about your child being hurt or injured because they've run away in a public place. There are just so many intangibles that you can't put a price tag on. So by the time you look at $500 to $800 a month with our program for even a few years, compared to the $2 to $8 million not to mention the wear and tear on your family. Suddenly, the cost of treating autism as opposed to the cost of not treating autism becomes a whole different ballgame. Think about this, consider it, and if we can answer any questions, give us a call. We're happy to help. Thank you for your time today.